Howdy, Cub Scout.
Wonderwall.
There it is.
Reese's Puff.
But everyone, get all your junk out of the way, because we're talking about Reese's Puffs and wonderful walls or whatever.
After all,
Villain
Hey,
Inc.
everyone.
Oh, what the fuck, Dryadmin?
all right, I can't. Oh my god, I'm on
Really?
this side
You
today.
have to commit now. You gotta see the whole thing.
Thunderdome lover? Really?
I am the
can see that,
Thunderdome
yeah.
lover.
Split personality? Yeah, I can see that too.
Always monologuing. Damn fucking great.
Yeah, you be monologuing though.
I see you all love your new titles.
Why am I CEO though? Why am I CEO?
Because
I
you
don't-
you villain corporate ladder.
You had the goons.
Villain
Yeah.
corporate ladder? What are you talking about? This is just real life corporate ladder. What the fuck?
Yo, my favorite villain, Jeff Bezos.
Hey, you can't talk about my boss like that.
There you are.
Sorry.
Walking
Bezos
alone.
Jeff.
Walking alone in the Amazon rainforest.
It's
Your phone
actually
is off.
house.
Out of the corner of your eye, you spot him. Jeff Bezos.
actually the God Emperor Jeff Bezos has been usurped by the Grand Duke Andrew Jassy, who's now
I don't
new
know.
title is. I'm not finishing this joke.
Well,
I
I was trying to think of something clever and I
As
couldn't.
first order of CEO, you finish that joke wherever the hell you were going with. I'm giving
Yeah.
Dryad a bonus.
Fucking Andrew Jassy, the Grand Duke
Yay!
Andrew Jassy is now the supreme
guy.
the supreme king of all packages. Andrew
Damn.
Jassy.
Uh,
There we
Damn.
go.
I'm telling Guy I had to work
There's a
out
package
from
joke
home.
somewhere in there.
I'm telling Guy I had to work from home.
But you gotta unbox it first,
Right.
you know.
Sad. Okay.
That's just that Justin Timberlake song. You can't fool me.
Is it?
Don't worry
Before
about
Justin
it.
Timberlake,
Don't
yes,
don't
man.
tell her. Chat, don't tell her. Don't tell her about that song. All right, but yes, welcome to Charisma Check. We're a bunch of DMs, and we're gonna talk about D&D stuff because we're not satisfied just shouting into the void, into the wind, into the clouds. We gotta yell in front of our screens. My name is Dryadmin. I'm the DM of Legend Academy, and we have a few other people here. Unfortunately, Spawn cannot make it this week on account of it was short notice, and Spawn has a life.
Does he?
Huh?
Wait, we're DMs. We're not supposed to have lives.
That's
Yeah,
our
but
player's
Spawn,
job.
that's why Spawn's been banned for this week because he had a life for a week, and we're like that. We can't have that.
Oh.
Come back
Right,
come
yeah,
back
like-
in another week when you stop having a life.
Come back when you have nothing.
Mm-hmm. Come back when you only have ashes and dust.
Damn.
But yes, who would love to introduce themselves first?
I'll go first. Hello. I was about to say howdy rowdy. Thank God I stopped.
Don't stop stealing my lines, Mike. Cringe
This is the
ass
Howdy
nay
Rowdy
lines.
podcast.
Anywho, good day everyone. My name is Angel Silver Rose, and I'm your Villain Inc. CEO from Unicorn Hope. How you doing?
Yes.
Next person, please.
We just go down to Brandon around.
Yeah, just go around.
Follow
Giya,
the
go.
clock.
I'm pointing the
said
finger at
follow
you.
I said follow the clock to go around to the
Follow the clock.
Do you really want
My
me to
clock
go
is
next?
broken.
I will monologue.
Yes.
Yes.
Give us the monologue. It's in your title.
Drink some
It
OJ.
was that DreamWorks monologue.
No. But hello, my name is Brant Casimir, also known as Divine Justice. I am your guardian angel and the DM of Martalis, and I will totally not monologue throughout this entire podcast. But yeah.
We
That's
have
false
to pad the
advertising.
time somehow.
If we
All
don't
right.
have at least one monologue, then are we really DMs?
True.
Yeah.
You fools! You have entered my trap as I proceed to monologue about my entire life.
My
It all-
parents beat me, blah blah blah.
It all started when I was born and neither of my parents showed up to my birth.
Fuck up. Anyway,
You're
my
anyway,
parents showed up.
I guess I should also introduce myself. Hello, I am Giya. That's all you need to know. I DM.
There you go. Nice and short
So I
to the
realized
point.
I got deleted from the fucking thing in the middle. My dice is not there. I am sad.
What do you mean?
There's no
Oh
no
my God,
dice.
your
You
dice
didn't
is
use the
here.
right one.
I didn't use the right one. Oh no! All right.
When you're the host and you're not even part of it.
All right.
I am crying.
I'm going to fix that. But in the meantime, Giya, you are the host of today's little podcast. Why don't you go ahead and give us the rundown of what's going on?
Oh, hold on, 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 hold on.
Yeah.
Dryad, for the longest time that I've known you, you said you're not a furry. Yet I'm looking at the Twitch description here, and
What are
I see
you
the word
talking
fur.
about? What are you talking about? Listen, you
Are
gotta
you?
attract an audience somehow, okay? You don't have to call me out like this.
Oh, that's an interesting tag.
Very interesting.
Right next to
Sorry,
VTuber
guys.
too.
Just-
It's like
just-
super cringe.
That's
Angel really just caught me like Marge Simpson. I just think they're neat.
Anyway, just like think that we thought those things were neat. How about killing people? I mean, today we're going to be talking about death, D&D deaths for reference. Just in case the FBI agents are watching. Yeah,
For the FBI at home, this is all hypothetical
Yeah,
and part
all
of a video
hypothetical.
game.
Yes, the tabletop game. But yes, we're just going to be talking about maybe stories of how we've killed players, how we've dealt with that, or what you maybe can do to, make it not just you hit 0 HP, goodbye.
Bye. You are the
Here's the new
weakest
sheet.
player.
It will not kill.
Oh boy.
Oh God,
So,
how am I?
yes.
Was that
Oh,
a
I can't do this.
Forge reference?
Yes.
It will not kill. It will kill. I love that show. I've seen it. I splurged that show for like just one evening, and I can't get that phrase out of my. It will kill.
You
It will kill.
So yeah, who has a good story they want to start with?
Well, I think the host should start first.
But I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure the host last week didn't start with a story. Am I remembering
The
wrong?
host gets to pick. The host has the ultimate
Yeah.
privilege.
Oh, that's true.
Check your
true,
privilh,
true.
host.
Let me
Just
check
don't
my-
pick me. I'm working on the title banner right now.
Yeah, let me check let me check the notes really quick. All right, one moment.
Wait, you have notes? We're DMs. We're not supposed to have notes. Get out of here.
It's an empty piece of paper.
Another faker.
That's fair.
There's literally nothing on this paper.
Listen, if your notes isn't just
yeah?
a blank piece of paper that says "sexy goblins?" ? You're not a real DM.
True. But what about if it says 2 sexy goblins?
Now you're pushing it. You're on thin fucking ice, mister.
That's too symbols too much.
See, my DM's notes is just a picture of a mouse, and it just says fireball.
Oh yeah, this is my DM notes. If you can hear it.
Very good.
Not big. flop of
Unfortunately, I do not feel like burning paper up, so you guys can't hear my notes.
I mean, my note is just a picture of my player characters, and then it just says trauma.
notes.
But yeah, let's see. How about we start with a monologue? Go on, Brad.
Monologuing.
So we want to start with the Great Blue Mask incident.
Okay.
Okay.
So I
It's
am
been
gonna
fixed.
start.
Before you start, I just want to let you know it's been fixed. All right, you've been vindicated. So don't come at me
Yay.
anymore.
I'm finally part of the podcast.
That's beautiful. So I would have went with one of the other stories of how like I killed players, but those were a little less boring. I want to start off with the story that kind of made me, when I started DMing, do it a little bit differently. So, the Great Blue Mask incident starts off with me as my ranger in the Tyranny of Dragons campaign. We just got through the towers, maze-like defenses at the start, which was also the first time I've ever raged in a D&D setting because, oh my god, it was so frustrating of a puzzle. And the next session, we were going through this tower because when we first started in the maze, we had a dude up on the top of the tower waving the blue mask that we need to look for. And it's like, I have it, come get it. I'm here to help you guys, whatnot. So obviously, you know, us being dumbasses, we're like, oh, cool, he's here to help. So we go through the tower. It is, you know, we went through a couple floors. No need to go into those details. However, we managed to get down to the bottom floors after getting an access code. At this point, I was a little tired. I did not sleep right that day, that morning. So at this point in the game, it was like maybe like 2-3 hours in, and I was getting exhausted.
Not in your right mind.
Yeah. So we ended up, first off, taking out a few elementals beforehand, but go into this large room where the person that showed the mask to us lied dead on the floor with the blue dragon mask right next to them. We were like, oh sweet, there's the blue dragon mask.
Free mask!
Yeah.
Let's go!
And for some reason, during this, I had the dumb idea of putting on the mask. I want to see what the power is behind it.
Listen, it's a cool mask. Why wouldn't you wear it?
Yeah, you know, I'm the grizzled ranger. I'm a little underpowered compared to the rest of my players, because I mostly let them take the loot and whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, why not have a little power for myself? Now,
why not? Why shouldn't I keep it?
That's a treat.
Now, if any of you know Tyranny of Dragons, you know,
maybe
that
a quick
mask
spoiler
is...
alert. A quick spoiler alert for anyone who is planning to play the Tyranny of Dragons campaign, because I haven't. And I don't know if anyone else is planning to do it. So, sorry if we spoiled anything yet, and also maybe skip like, I don't know, like 10 minutes or something.
I'm just quickly looking at the blue dragon mask. I want to just have it.
Yeah.
There we go.
So if anyone actually knows the Tyranny of Dragons, the blue dragon mask is a fake, and it's supposed to give you a madness effect.
Mm-hmm.
My DM goes, how much health do you have? Why?
That's a wonderful question.
Just answer the question as you put on the mask. 97.
That's a lot.
Cool.
Wait,
it was enchanted
That's not over 100 though.
Yep. It was enchanted with power word kill. You drop dead. Just like that. This character that I've played for almost little over 2 years drops dead, and we don't have the diamonds or anything to resurrect them.
But at least you got a cool mask.
Okay, to be fair, you did just see a dead guy with a mask, and you were like, I'll put this on.
That's why I have
to... It's like a fantasy version of like, I'm just gonna pull this lever and see what it does.
Wrong lever!
Yeah. In all fairness, hindsight being 2020, and now that I'm a little bit more awake, obviously it smelled of a trap, and I probably shouldn't have worn it to begin with. However, I always resented that DM for the fact that, you know, why not just give it the madness effect, not kill a player outright?
Right. It was homebrewed.
Yeah, it was a little cheap. It was a little lackluster. Like, I knew he was a bit of a tougher DM, but like I always hated that. So I now try not to do that to my players. Like, if it is way more obvious than that, it's their own fucking fault. Yeah. But my party affectionately calls that the Dragon Mask incident, and pretty much I had to play a backup character for like the rest of the campaign, which was a little at the time, but
it's a very specific style of death, like the sudden, almost like anticlimactic
What kind of death is it? Instant.
Now that Oh, hold on. There's 3 things I want to say, but I'll wait
Mhm.
I'll wait for my turn. So never mind.
Yeah.
I was just
So-
like, it's better if there's big damage. You're like, oh shit! It's like, no, you just drop.
Yeah, no,
Like,
like
infinite
it wasn't.
damage.
Like I would have happily taken the madness effect for my tired stupor, but it was honestly that just annoyed me to no end.
Understandable.
Now when it comes to my campaigns and my players, death is a cinematic scene. I hated that feeling so much that I want to always give my players closure. For instance, in my Mortalis campaign, our Dragonborn Barbarian ended up going out with a fucking bang. By bang, I mean taking the literal eye off of an adult blue dragon before he succumbed to his injuries. Because he died in battle, I kind of looked at the cosmological wheel and determined that he goes to Ysgard for dying in battle. And we literally had an entire scene of him waking up in the field next to a Valkyrie, getting escorted to the hall and whatnot, and
D&D Valhalla.
yeah, D&D Valhalla, and just having fun. Now, I put these 2 stories together because I was the player for that DM. That DM was the Dragonborn.
Oh.
So,
Bitch, this is how you do it.
The master becomes the student becomes the master.
so obviously, it was I gave his death a little bit more grandiose as a blatant fuck you, but that's just me being a petty little bitch. But I've had players in the past that, die in battle or get poisoned or whatnot. And like, I will tell you exactly where your body's going. I've had another player that had a character that literally had no faith, did not care for the gods. As he was dying, he saw the wall. If you know D&D lore, there is a wall that is, some say is actually the divine gate, where like your soul gets trapped forever and ever with a bunch of screaming skulls and souls and whatnot. So that wasn't fun for his death, but again, I've always giving that closure of where they go, what happens after they die, and then continuing on with the story. And it all stemmed from the fact that I died just
On the spot.
on the spot.
It's like a villain origin story.
How did you die? I just did.
Yeah.
When I died that day, I knew things would be different.
And then I came back.
Things were never the same.
Yeah, and trust me, I've had plenty of deaths myself where they were just funny and hilarious too, and I don't care for those as well. Those, as long as it was funny, it's like, okay, whatever.
Whoops, fell off cliff.
I know Angel had something to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Angel.
How do I come
Don't hold on to us now.
all right.
We're
Jokes
building up the
aside.
tension.
Yeah, you're supposed to. If you do kill out now, the only time a death like that ever works out in any D&D campaign when it's early, not when it's much later on. And if it, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is how I would do this is that I would Actually, I don't kill player NPCs at all. So what the fuck am I talking about?
If I were to do this, here's how. No.
FBI agent, if you're listening.
So what I'm trying to say is
First, I would write a book about it.
Yeah.
monologuing already. I see. Anywho, honestly though, sorry, I'm a little confuzzled because I wasn't expecting to talk right now. I was actually looking up some research right here. See, there is a way to actually save you after power word kill, mask, and whatnot. So by the wording of Revivify, and I'm reading Revivify very, very carefully. As long as you were dead within 2 minutes and they had the spell Revivify, and Revivify, if you had any clerics that are like past level 4, which you had a level HP of 94, which I'm guessing you already were. You could have easily. There's hundreds of ways you could have gotten out of that. And hundreds of ways.
Well, it depends because people might not have the spell prepared. People might not have material components because it's very expensive to revive people.
The cleric was not a healing cleric. We will say
it is the alternative. Oh, the cleric might also just not like you very much.
I was actually the only person that she probably would have revivified, since pretty much at that point we had like this. Cause she was like this, played this like fucking 18-year-old girl, and it's like I'm the old grizzled veteran of Waterdeep. We basically ended up having a father. Yeah, we were the father-daughter relationship by the end. But at that point, I also said, yeah, I'll just have a new character. It's fine, whatever. Partially can be.
We have a character at home.
Character at home. Anywho.
It's fine. That backup character also became almost as iconic as my ranger in our campaigns. Because that was my mute bard sylph.
Now, the Tier New campaign, spoilers warning, has a lot of traps like that. Not many mass-based ones, like possibly 2 or 3 at most, if you're lucky. Your players even bumped into that. But the actual Dragon Cult's actual temple itself has like literally 3 traps on the front door already. That 2 of them can instantly kill, and one just again, this is I'm thinking of the like when I was a teenager, Cult of the Dragons, Cult of Tyranny, and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another gender bent one. I still don't know what the hell's going on with that one. Why was that a thing back then so much?
They just liked it.
They just liked it.
Dungeon. Yeah. There were definitely like a bunch of people, like, you know how like there's a bunch of artists that like worked on Robin Hood on Disney since you made that freaking furry joke, and then a bunch of artists got into it and they were like, I don't know, I just really like drawing anthropomorphic animals for some reason. And I think it's the same way with a lot of like the old school, like let's not kid ourselves. A lot of old school repressed dungeon master and adventure writers being like, I don't know why, I just really like drawing gender bending traps.
Bimbification and whatnot but yeah.
That was the gender bend trap was amazing because our our paladin was the one that got into it. And then when I had the Sylph Bard, because I was Fey nature, we basically did a 2 years after the campaign, like level 16 to 20, and we ended up going into the a Forge of Moradin, where I could basically build whatever I want. So I put dumb enchantments on all the armor and weapons that they asked me for, all the rest of the players, because I was the one with the hammer. I turned the paladin's armor so that way whenever he wore it, everyone else saw a woman while he only saw himself.
What?
Guys, the gender bend trap activated. Oh no.
Oh no. Pretty much it was a joke for the rest of us and not for him.
Oh my god.
I mean,
I hate that.
It's like that story. It was like that story of like a king who gets new clothes made, but there's not actually clothes. He just thinks it is. It's like an old tale.
The emperor has no clothes.
Yeah.
So my third point is you already pretty much got covered it a little bit towards the end, Divine, when you gave the GM a much better death, the value and whatnot, towards the end. Oh, if you do kill a player, always make it a nice last hurrah. Always make it go for a nice last hurrah.
Yeah.
At least that's how I feel, anyways.
I would speak onto Mins, but I'm not sure what he's gonna speak about later.
What do you mean, Mins?
Oh, you mean the furry?
I know. When I almost died in yours, you gave me like the ability for last words and everything. It was nice. I enjoyed it.
Yes, there was a dramatic scene. Even though as a DM, I was like 95% sure that you were gonna be okay.
Are we talking about the
95% sure.
Are we talking about the time where the beetle killed the clone?
We're
No.
talking about when the big bad evil guy like choked you out and then like basically shot you.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
point
I knew he
blank.
was gonna be fine after that. I had no idea why Dryad let you. I was like, no way, Dryad's
I was
gonna
like,
let
give you
Dryad.
some last words. It was definitely like I wanted to give you a big scare, which ties into my philosophy, which I'll talk about later.
All right, in that case, I'll shut the
To
hell
be
up.
fair, I did not remember I had to parry up a wound closure, so
Yeah.
I actually thought I was gonna die.
Here's the thing: if you didn't, you were gonna roll death saves just like anyone else, and you probably would have died, and I would not have stopped you from dying.
That's fair.
Oh my god, discovering a changeling body in that certain
Yeah,
scenario.
that would have been a very
Jesus
different scene of
That
Penelope
would've
being like,
been-
"Oh my god, he's dead."
Christ. Gee. Oh my god, he
That
has
would have
no
been a very
penis.
different scene. God, you're just like this guy's a lot bluer than I remember. Just like your frozen corpse.
Yeah, his eyes are a lot more black too.
Oh no, that would have been. It would have been very great to make that a funny scene, but it would have been terrible for Divine.
I mean, I would have had a laugh. Like the way, again, it ties into my philosophy of you got to make the death grandiose. You got to make it, more closure than a simple you die.
You died. He
Literally,
died.
you allowed me some final words. You allowed me to have a little quip.
Yeah.
I ended up quoting one of my personal favorite limericks about Amor Fati, aka Loving Fate. So yeah, I had a good time with it, and that's the way you should do it.
So one thing that I wanted to say that I wanted to kind of highlight for your little story, Divine, is you mentioned that like the character, your side character, your backup character that you came in almost ended up having like just as much significance in the group dynamic by the end of the campaign. How late was like that character death before you brought in the side guy? Like how long was your side guy around?
Hold up, let me look for the actual. I still have the character sheet for Ranger Brant.
Loser.
Oh shit.
Was this like Ranger Branch 2 or was it
Ranger
you know what I mean, like Bob the
Boogaloo.
Fighter the second?
No,
avenge my
so
brother.
like I said, Ranger Brant was a human ranger of pretty much an old scouts of Neverwinter. Had a bit of a tragic backstory, all that shit. The other one was obviously a mute bard, which was a very lovely gimmick. Oh, here are you. 15.
15 sessions?
Level 15. He survived. So.
Oh, that's not bad
Oh.
actually.
But how? Well, I don't know what level you were when he was introduced.
I think we were set because I had another death prior to that, and that one was more of I did not like the bard I was playing. I played Akron, this tiefling bard. That was at like 3rd level. We went into a dungeon, and the way that we were set up during the one session, I was getting charmed and falling into a trap. And then by next session, after talking with the DM, like, hey, I want to bring in a new character, we basically killed him off there. Being
Edgy.
stabbed several times in the chest. So he pretty much survived Brant survived 3 to 15 at that point.
I see. So I guess what all I'm trying to get at is that you had the side character, And I don't know much about the DM because you had that pettiness that
Yeah.
came in. So I'm not gonna make any judgments. But it sounded like your DM at least either like had a plan or was able to or tried to make it up to you by making sure your side character got like enough of the spotlight that your main character would have gotten or at least missed out on.
I mean,
And so I wanted to kind of like point that out for not for the DMs specifically, but for any player who is worried about an important character dying. Is backup characters, we make jokes like, haha, have a backup character because this campaign's real dangerous, but like there's a nugget of truth to that. Having side characters, especially backup characters that have a tie to your original character, have a tie to the central narrative and can be reintroduced into the story in the event that a main character goes out, even in an unexpected way, is a great way to like maintain the stakes, maintain your investment, and make sure that player character death doesn't impact the story or the player as much as it might be if you like didn't expect that to happen or like you have no backup plan.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, she became more significant, and it was just more the I guess the initial factor.
Yeah.
That kind of
there's a shock
stuck
factor
with
of
me.
like, oh, he went out like a bitch.
Honestly, and then like we as our party grew, both those characters became like such background characters. I think I even reprised him after we went and did a Return to Avernus, where he's literally essentially just Doom guy in hell, just killing devils. I turned him into a Ranger Barbarian, which was fucking hilarious. Every time he raged, it was rip and tear until it was done.
I've had a player do that too. It's
all that shit. So like again, like even though the characters died, came back, whatnot, it depends on the party you have, is like the lasting effect of them. And like hell, even the Barbarian, literally they have a Horn of Valhalla that they used for the final fight, and basically I allowed the player to bring back their character one last hurrah just to fuck with the big bad evil guy.
I saw that.
Uh-huh.
That was a great touch. And I thought that was really cool. The other thing I want to say before we move on, this is a really short side tangent, not about character death or PC death, but because Angel mentioned it, I wanted to make a note about traps. Because you mentioned, like, you were talking about, like, in that one campaign that you were looking at, there were like 3 traps already, and 2 of them could insta kill you. And of course, your situation, Brant, was different because you had like this math, so it wasn't like a trap. It was just like a cursed item that you happened upon. But like, this is a quick lesson of sort of, I guess, realism or something. If you have DMs that are just like, I want my traps to kill, I want my traps to be real edgy. If you think about it, in the olden days, like obviously from a fantasy perspective, traps that are lethal are like very exciting. But if you're making a real dungeon as a real person, you usually don't want your traps to kill, because your traps that kill end up making a giant mess that you have to clean up as the owner of the dungeon. Most people who make traps don't want to kill their victims. They want to injure them or maim them or otherwise basically deter them. You basically want to injure them as much as you want while still giving them the ability to turn around and leave your goddamn dungeon.
I might be wrong, but wasn't it like a thing in older D&D that it was just a lot more lethal? Like,
yeah.
Like they're like official modules and shit.
Yeah, old school modules were vicious, but they were mostly there for that like shock factor. In a realistic setting, your traps typically don't injure because you want to give. I'm not even saying like from a gameplay or a design perspective. I'm just saying from an in-world dungeon crafting, lair living experience. You want your traps to not kill the players because you don't want to have to clean up the mess that like basically the pile of bodies would create. Like, imagine creating a spiked pit that insta kills, and then like you leave your lair for a month and you come back and people
Smelling
are
like-
walking over your pile of dead bodies. You're like, I didn't want that to happen. I wanted them to fall down and be like, oh, this shit sucks actually, and then leave. You don't want them to actually die in that pit, because after 4 or 5 bodies land on that pit's not lethal anymore because there's just a bunch of bodies in there.
It's cushiony.
Yeah, it's like the joke of like Mario falling into a pit 1,000 times so that you can like walk over his pile of bodies. It's the same idea.
So, the only time where you know where the bad guy doesn't care about the traps being lethal or not is when there's a cube of slime around.
Yeah, just something to clean up the mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gelatinous
Yeah.
cube or a monster.
That's why every big bad is required to have a ooze in their dungeon, because that is literally the fucking Roomba.
that your players will inevitably try to adopt
Zumba.
as a pet. Brant.
All right. I don't like being called out like this.
It's
adorable, and I
He's
still
trying to call
want
it. Hold on, we can't walk past that.
I'm
Brand.
calling you out so hard that your mic is
Brant.
cutting out.
All right,
Brett.
listen.
Brett.
I don't like being called out in this manner.
Why did you try to make friends with the brainless cell?
Because it was adorable, and I've always wanted an ooze as a pet.
You know what? Fine
When,
enough.
when you go across a freaking cube and it in a cute way, how can you resist?
Like when you see the cube,
Yeah,
it-
for real.
It bubbled when I fed it. It was adorable.
Oh, okay, fine.
All right, Brant, pass the talking dice.
You know what? Fuck you, man. You
What?
get the talking dice.
Everyone always passes the talking dice to me. All right, I'll never
Hey,
talk
'cause you
last.
called them
I'll never
out.
financially recover from
Yeah.
this. All right,
Yeah, you called
That's
out,
too
bitch.
expensive.
I've got a bunch of stories and stuff that I can share, but before I do that, I want to bring up a thread that I saw on Twitter instead.
Oh
And I
no.
want to talk
no.
about this guy and a take that he had regarding player characters dying. And I want to talk
Okay.
about that. I basically want to put this guy in the spotlight. He goes by Newbie DM on Twitter. I don't see a whole lot of his content, but he looks like he makes some good stuff. He had interesting takes. This one I think was a fairly controversial. It was kind of very old school. And I'm not going to spoil it anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and show it off. So I wanted to bring this thread and highlight it because I think it leads a lot to how I think about player character death and threats in general when it comes to D&D. So, Newbie DM in March 19th, like this guy made this like freaking like 15 days ago, and I still think about it. So that's how you know it's important.
I thought you
He
were
made
making
this
a call.
message, and I'm gonna share it in the Discord as well, and I'll quote it for anyone who's just listening to the podcast. But yes, Newbie DM on Twitter said, "When did it become taboo for player characters to die? Which edition led to that? Because I see it's frowned upon now unless it's agreed on, spoken about, etc. And wow, that's a few steps removed from my expectations about the game. When did this shift happen?" And he goes on to give a bit more of a stand-up take. I saw a take that said player character death is a failure of the DM, and I think it's a ridiculous take. Poor Bob the Fighter 2, he'll always go unused. I do believe it's a moot point. Dying in 5e is not easy. The system doesn't want player characters dying. I don't think that I have killed a 5e character. They're really hard to kill, but if I did, oh well, the threat's always there. Wait, people find, and he goes on to a bit of a rambling about like 5e character creation, whatever. And he's like, to close this topic, if you play one of my games, the threat of death is always there, but I'll never actually pick on you and put a target on your back. The die rolls are out in the open, and if you die, well, there was always an option to run. And this guy kind of talks about like how his games are very combat action heavy than they are narrative or character exploration moments. So you could tell this guy like very much like came from the old guard of D&D as a war game, very action-packed,
Yeah.
dungeoneering style. You know, rocks fall, everyone dies kind of philosophy. So I wanted to highlight that thread and kind of like dissect it a little bit with everyone, because the one that I really wanted to talk about specifically is his second point that said, I saw a take that said PC death is a failure of the DM. Basically along the lines of, hey, as a DM, if you accidentally kill a player character in a way that like maybe you weren't expecting to or something like that, then usually that means that you have failed to like either balance your encounter correctly, or you failed to make like a compelling trap, or you failed to like end a narrative of a player character in a way that is satisfying to them, right? Like I think that's
Failed
the
to
general
fudge the
like
dice.
take that he's kind of, yeah, you failed to fudge the dice, or you like basically you were on this roller coaster ride where there's a thrill that comes to it, but player character dying is kind of like the equivalent of like someone flying off your roller coaster, right? Like everyone goes on a roller coaster because they want to be thrilled, but like we all agree that a roller coaster should be super duper safe, and a player character is kind of like someone actually accidentally dying on your roller coaster. Oops, that wasn't meant to actually happen. I wasn't meant to actually put you in danger.
Yeah. But I mean, you can literally die to just a series of bad rolls.
Yeah, you can absolutely die to a series of bad rolls. Like
I've seen that. I've seen someone roll 5 once in a row.
Fights that are challenging can easily be shifted and turned into player character dying, or even total party kills, total party wipes, in the event of bad rolls. And so I wanted to kind of dissect this and basically give my philosophy and how it kind of ties into this. So my philosophy on player character deaths. First, I am similar to Angel. I'm in the camp where, as a DM, I kind of want to look like a villain. I use the roller coaster analogy because that's how I think about threats in general in D&D. I always want you to think you're in danger, even if realistically you're not really in that much danger. I wanted Divine to think his character was in a lot of danger, even though I knew you have the periaptive wound closure, you're going to stabilize, you're probably going to be fine, right? I always want my players to think they're in danger, which sometimes comes back to bite me in the ass, because my players in Ultimate Academy have created what they lovingly refer to as Team 30 chat.
Team 30 chat, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's a little private. Yeah, you want to tell me about that?
So, but it's a chat, DM chat that we created for everyone except Min.
Except me,
because,
no pandas allowed.
Because this man is plotting against us, so we're gonna plot back.
Yeah, so I have this philosophy where I want to present myself as this evil villain because I want all my players putting the curtains down. I want all my players to think I'm being a fucking bastard and throwing the worst shit at them all the time, because it's like a haunted house almost. It's like a haunted house. It's like a roller coaster. You want the illusion of being a fucking villain. All
right, you sent a Matya after us. You are the worst.
The problem with that is that if your characters are appropriately paranoid, it can end up fostering a sort of adversarial relationship. So you gotta tread the line carefully. I would not recommend new DMs take this approach.
Jesus Christ, that's
the other thing I wanted to mention for is I think people focusing a lot on player character death in particular, because it's the one that has the most emotional gut punching factor, right? But I think this philosophy, player character death is a failure as a DM, is kind of indicative of a bigger issue. And that is generally the idea of a player or the players failing, straight up failing whatever task they have at hand. Because depending on the campaign you're running, failure can often mean a player character dying or the entire team dying. You know, if you're, classic, dungeon crawl, you fight a monster, you fail, you die. But failure can mean a whole lot of other things. Failure can mean that you did not send the message to the king in time and their outpost was wiped out by a raid. Failure can mean that you didn't escort the NPC to the hospital in time and they succumbed to their injuries and died, and now the heir to the throne has been lost. You know, there could be a lot of ways to fail without a
Doesn't
player
have to
character
be
dying.
player death.
But they're still very meaningful, and you can design your stories kind of around these narratives. And I think, more importantly, what I would say is, instead of player character death being a failure of the DM, because I always think that the threat of death is one of the most exciting things about Dungeons and Dragons. More specifically, to nail this take on the head a little bit more accurately, if your players have failed something, and you as a DM have not planned for that failure, basically if you've set up your characters, if you've set up your players so that they can fail something, but you as a DM have taken it for granted that they will succeed their task, and then they end up actually failing and you have no backup and you're kind of caught with your pants down, that's the failure. The failure is not that the player character died. The failure is that you've set a player character up so they can die, you killed them, and then you said, oh shit, that wasn't meant to happen. I didn't mean to actually kill you. That's where the DM sort of failure comes in. And what you should do, lesson for all DMs out there, whenever you want the option for your characters to fail, which should be most of the time, because the beauty of Dungeons and Dragons is that it is a game, which means your players can lose whatever they're doing. You need to have a plan for what happens when your characters lose. And you need to make sure that that narrative, that plan, still allows you to be exciting. It's a fail forward kind of idea, right? Even when you fail, something interesting happens. And the game can go on. If the failure state of your game ends up putting the narrative completely on its brakes and you have nothing planned, that's the failure. Always have a plan for when your player characters absolutely botch whatever they have planned. And that kind of like ties into sort of like my idea of how player character death works. And then all that, you know, all the other conversations that kind of comes with it, you know, talking to your players. How lethal do you want the campaign to be? Are you okay with your player characters dying? Like Divine, you know, I post a poll. I always do a session 0 with my players. Always run a session 0, by the way. That's outside of player death in total, but always run a session 0 with your characters or with your players. I always give them a little form to fill out because I love my little itemized forms. And one of the things I always ask my characters, I don't ask them, do you like dying? Because it's a loaded question. I always ask them, if you had to die, how do you want to go out? And I think that helps set the tone a bit more. In game. Yeah. In game. Jake from State Farm, who's listening into our conversation, we're talking about in the game.
In game.
So
back on your chair.
So yeah, always have a session 0 with your players. Talk about death. If you are like me and think the threat of death is super important to D&D, don't ask them if they're okay with dying. Let them know death is always a factor and ask them how they want to die. It'll give you a lot more insight into how your players think and are emotionally attached to their characters. And then, finally, always have a plan to fail forward if your characters fail in whatever mission they're performing, whatever task they have. And that includes the failure state being one or more of your player characters die. Anyway, that's my little take on this take about player character and whether it's a failure or not and what it is.
Yeah. So you finished?
Yeah. Go ahead and go. Here's my thesis defense. Go ahead.
All right. Well, here's the issue in your argument.
Yeah. No, go ahead. I want to hear it.
You're still committing murder?
Yeah. Great argument, listen, still murder.
Listen, you can defend it, but the knife is still there. No, I don't like killing players. It's happened. But I have a tendency to turn character deaths into like story beats. It wouldn't be the first time that I brought back a dead player. But I think the one I really wanted to talk about was the death of a warlock I had in my campaign. Where I think I looked up the name one moment. So their patron was, how the fuck do I pronounce this? Leviatar? The Maiden of Pain?
Oh!
Pinky? But go on.
Yeah. So
You mean-
this player was a what do you say? Angel?
It's pronounced Alivalar.
Alivalad.
Alivalar. You don't say the T.
I think I took a medicine named that once.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, so the character had never really, like talked to their patron. Like it was there was some other stuff that was like they were a hexblade. There was some other stuff about how they got their like power. But so they never talked to their patron. So they were having this combat encounter. Shit went fucking haywire. I think one of the players ended up fireballing the team by accident. I don't remember how. This player ended up dying, and what's it called? The healer of the party was not near enough to heal, so they ended up, failing their death saves because they were split up heavily in this arena. And when they died, we paused combat because my players love RP moments, so they're like, "Yeah, pause, please, do the thing now." So what I did was I had the warlock meet their patron for the first time. Because for the patron, because in this the Maiden of Pain, if if the one you have the contract with is dead, you don't get the joy of watching them be in pain. So they made another deal on top of the deal already made, which was you can come back, but the next time you go down, that's it. And there was a whole like.
When you say
extra,
go down, do you mean like the next time you die, or the next time you like go unconscious?
You don't have death saves anymore.
Oh damn!
And
That's
so that was like
spooky.
this whole. There was the whole thing. It was like, okay, you can come back, but there was also like stuff like because of how Mistress of Pain. It's like, okay, how do we write the contract for this? How about your skin? And the rest of the party just thought like because the warlock ended up taking this deal because they wanted to get back and help the party in the fight. So they got up, and of course they were like wearing clothes, so the party couldn't see anything. They won this fight, and the warlock didn't tell anybody. And so they were on this like ship later on where I think the warlock like took off their like shirt to go change it, and it was the druid who then noticed that it was like, okay, you have text everywhere etched into your skin. And
You have the whole story of the Lord of the Rings on your body.
Yeah, it's like why do you have that? And I remember the entire party getting fucking pissed at the warlock.
What do you got there? A smoothie?
I remember like the druid and the monk just walked into the room and going, right, let us talk to your patron. We just want to talk.
Let's not talk.
And here's the thing, I let them, because after this contract, the warlock could talk to their patron, and the patron went, oh, they want to talk, sure. And it's like, so they all get like brought into this like dark room, got just somewhat like demi-plane kind of idea, and they're like, yeah, please stop, please fix our friends. Like, no, I don't think I will. So
you're not my supervisor.
But then the patron was very, because here's the thing, the patron had caused like the warlock a lot of pain. Like there was one point where they had to escape from a place. It was like, oh, you can give up your hand and I'll teleport everybody out of there. So they were like, because they were like, oh, you're lying. You're telling our warlock friend here like things that's wrong. The patron just goes, have I ever lied to you? And I just remember everybody being fucking pissed. He's like, no, you haven't. So they didn't have any defense. And the last thing they ended up going, because the patron was like, okay, I will do it on one condition: give you part of your life. And I think the elf ended up giving up half their life expectancy, and because the druid in the party was a warforged, they don't exactly age in the same way. It's like, okay, you're a caster. Give me half of your resources, also known as that level 20 druid did not have anything above level 5 spell slots. So they gave up a lot of shit for their friend, but it all happened because it was like, okay, how do I make something out of this character's death that's not just okay? How what do I do now that you're down? But so this like that sparked its own like whole. Okay, how do we fix this deal?
Yeah.
Because we can't have you going down in combat. Because if you do, you're gone. Like they do that out of character.
Yeah. If you have this terrifying, debilitating condition on you, I don't care that you're alive. Go home and be a family man. Like retire from adventuring.
Be a farmer.
Oh, trust me. They tried to like, please, like just stop. We'll go back to the town. Like, no, I took this deal so I can help everybody. Like, no, fine. Let us talk to your patron then.
I don't know about
like,
you, man.
They straight
but
up
I
were
love
about
my
to
level
throw
9 spell
hands.
slots. It'd be hard for me to give them up. I'd be like, you're a friend, but you also took this deal. I'm keeping my level 9 spell slots. I want true polymorph. That shit's so good.
Trust me, I think that discussion just because like the patron just gave the deal and just sat there, just okay, talk amongst yourselves. I'll be waiting. I think that talk took 2 hours in and out of character. They're like if you do this and you fix, it's like my character's gonna fucking cry. And it feels like one of the player characters weren't there one of the players weren't there that day. They come back the next. It's like, what happened? Why? It's like, Penny, why do you look sad? It's like,
Why does he have 50 Shades of Grey written on his back? What the fuck?
Oh, it's so good. I have the entire My Immortal fan fiction, and only my wife gets to see the ending.
Like the other time I've done this, we didn't get to do it much because that campaign got reset. But there was a player character that died to these these like crystalline beings. They were having some fun in the void. You know how it goes.
Boys.
Yeah. So this player character died, and the last thing there's on other character saw because they were running away. Like they were in no condition to fight. They're running away, and they saw this like crystal being like jam a crystal in the dead character's eye. I never got to fully reintroduce them because we ended up resetting, but they were meant to come back with like under like the influence of these crystal beings. And I had like a new token made for the player as well. So it's like, but I love like if a player has to die, but they shouldn't have to, but if it happens, I like always having a way of making it either relevant to the story or being like, hey, here is a side thing.
Yeah.
That,
you want a fate that is
yeah.
more than just losing 5,000 gold pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Almost a fate
Which the
worse
party
than
didn't
death.
have, by the way.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever done like a fate worse than death, where it's like you're not dead, you're just, this thing, which is like
You're
arguably
just
worse.
not alive.
Actually, I have pissed off my entire party with something worse than death. So during the campaign like this took place in the thing with the warlock and stuff, we had a last one shot, but like to finish off the campaign. So they had this kobold at a point. His name was Oogie. It's great. He had a shotgun. So he went to hell to help a what are they, like the cat creatures like that can't get hit by spells of like X level. I forgot their name. It's like a creature. But he went to hell with one of those. We joked around that he became the kobold, the Doomslayer.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. The players didn't know this. Not even the player that played Oogie. So Oogie died in hell. It happened. He got overwhelmed. Then he was reborn in hell, somewhat. So what happened during the last fight of like the campaign / one shot is Oogie comes back and fights the party because he is under an influence. So first off, you're like, okay, we just killed Oogie. Everybody is sad. And I just go, by the way, as you're holding Oogie, he turns to dust. That was he was literally a corpse all along. And I remember everybody being fucking pissed at me.
We could have saved him. No,
he was a session 1 character. Like he was from session 1 and like disappeared a year and a half into the campaign. And he's like finally back. He's like, oh no, he's evil now. He was dead all along. My players cried. They hated me.
Don't you love those traumatic sessions where all the characters, like in character, just like, this sucks, I fucking hate it, I want to go home, and then like the session ends and they're like, that was a great session.
I don't know, that entire, like, because there was also, wasn't it, when they were crawling this tower, it's like, oh yeah, you can talk to these elementals, they'll give you something, for the final fight, you just have to give up something. The warlock, and then like they ended up getting rid of warlock levels, and we replaced them with fighter because the whole deal. They're like, Yuke's like, I can give you all these powers. I just need your legs. So there's like a water element. So it's like you can have all these things. I'll just take the functionality of your legs.
Oh my god, I had a character who had something like that. He was called the Wheelchair Wizard. You rode around using a Tensor's floating disc.
I mean, here's the thing. Like for the one shot itself, it's like, oh, but I'll allow you to use my powers that you walk around for the rest of the session. But for like when they talked about what would happen post session, post everything, because here's the power they got: is they can fly, so to speak, when there's a waters. Like if you're over like a river, you can like hover above it, like a little pool of water, like a little pillar. So I went, so what are you doing now the campaign's done? I am installing a river under my house.
What?
Because they were like, oh, then they can move around the house. They just have to have like water nearby.
Yeah, you just freaking like get in a chair and then just freaking dive into the water.
Literally.
Swim uphill.
Well, I guess that's just my take on like deaths. I want there to be like some for the players to go, oh shit, they died. Okay, what do we do now? Do we get like revenge? Do we like
Yeah, it allows you to like it allows you and your characters to like play with how they feel about a character's death and like sort of test the theme of like how far are you willing to go to like rescue someone who's died? Are you willing to give up your legs? Are you willing to give up half of your class levels?
Oh, no, I love like doing things like you can do this thing, but it will cost you. Like, they got like a thing where it's like, oh hey, you can get this thing, but there is a chance that you just might drop dead.
Has
and they still sat there for 2 hours.
Party kill? Aside from my story of everyone being sent to the astral plane last week.
I've had one player live in a one shot.
Ooh.
The rest but that's like the close up into TPK. But that's a one shot. I mean, but you still.
So, what do you guys takes on this like fate worse than death? Test the limits of how much people care about about someone's character.
That's a good way to get a punch in the face, if you ask me. Although,
has that rearisen a story about your previous DMing, Angel?
All of this is look. I know people are gonna get sick of me harping on this, but I'm the one that got punched in the face, so I'm gonna harp on this like I'm harping on this again. Okay?
Yeah, Angel coming into the thing being like, I never kill my players, and we're like, we love killing our players, and Angel's like, I wonder why I don't like killing my players.
No, hold up. There's one thing. I hate killing my players to the point where my players, because I always have like face cam on whenever we're playing, they can tell when I've rolled really high damage. They're like, Giya, fucking do it. It's like,
hurt me more.
Like they need to no, just give me the damage. If I die.
It sounds like you have a group of masochists.
Yeah.
Honestly, at this point, probably.
And then you have me DMing Ultimate Academy being like, why do my NPCs keep critting?
Oh, trust, I have rolled 4 crits on one player once in a row. They're like, why? And also, whee!
It's just the big drop on the roller coaster, man. I'm telling you. 4 crits is just a big drop.
The 4 crits was on a wizard. I feel bad.
Yeah, I feel that. I as a resident wizard, I feel that.
Have you ever played
not a wizard? They didn't die. They had 2 HP left.
Me literally getting 2 hit, like me literally getting 1 HP taken away. Bane! I need healing.
Recover from this.
The local goblin
Genji made our podcast.
I need a medevac, Bane.
Bane. Meanwhile, Giya over here literally just I like making my players suffer.
I mean, it's I don't remember if I said it last time. It's like it's a running joke in my like campaign set. If you're not traumatized by session 4, I am off my game.
Yep, our players are masochists and we are the sadists.
Don't worry, they like minus one
So
player.
I gotta find my way.
Differ.
I gotta find a way to get a more European schedule then, because I want to see how much can you make me suffer.
Oh, save it for after stream, guys. It's getting a little steamy in this chat.
Oh, you don't
just-
understand.
Just Brant like coming in, sliding a 20 euro bill, and Giya's desk being like, "How much to make me suffer?"
Which is actually.
I'm already a
$39.99
broken
in
man,
US
Giya. I'm gonna be your test.
Goddamn.
This is turning into a real furry podcast here. What the fuck?
It's not a furry.
I'm not a
Two
furry.
people who aren't furries are the ones talking. What are you talking about, Angel? Don't give us a bad name like that. I'm here being a wholesome streamer.
Wholesome.
You wholesome.
We're talking about death.
Yeah, but like in a wholesome way.
What?
I'm not here chopping off legs, Giya.
Listen, the legs didn't go anywhere. They just didn't function.
Just let me know when we get. Let me know when I get to talking dice. I'm just chilling here.
No, I have the talking dice.
We should
you have
pass the
some.
talking dice soon, Giya.
Yeah, we have all
Here you
these.
go.
We have all these lovely takes on death, and we have someone over here like, oh, I never kill my players.
Who's actually
So
been pumped to pay
please.
for it too.
Have the talking dice.
Have the
So
talking
please tell
dice. Give
us.
us the dice.
Well, first off, I want to punch all three of you in the face.
All right, everyone, line up.
Oh, please too.
Anywho,
Don't do it to
Q up.
Brant.
so
Don't
If you
touch
guys
a
know-
good time.
you obviously already know the story about me dealing with some terrible DM players and whatnot. Obviously,
Mhm,
correct?
mhm.
Think so.
So yeah, of course. So no off again. I got punched in the face because the guy didn't believe I was rolling well, and he wanted to see the. Well, actually no, that's a recent development. But anyway, he wanted to. He honestly thought I was lying, just full on
That's
debauchering the dice
bullshitting.
and whatnot. And when he eventually was close to dying, is when he punched me. So
Well, now
After
you're
that-
definitely dying.
yeah. In all fairness, before that whole thing happened, my way of just viewing D&D death is literally as if it happens, it happens. Just much like in
Mhm.
real life, if it happens, it happens. Let's hope in real life you succeed your death safe than you do in video games and whatnot. So, after death, after death.
After AP, after the punch.
After the punch. Yes. After the punch, however, it kind of forced me to rethink a few things. Other than only showing my dice and whatnot, I still love D&D. Like, despite me going through that trauma and whatnot, I still love D&D, and I still wanted to play D&D. I constantly avoid players' death as best I can. However, does not mean I have not been killing NPCs like a motherfucker, though.
Oh yeah, you've been taking that inner rage and directing it.
Oh yeah. I think I've killed more NPCs than any other D&D, actually other NPCs so far. Like I said, in D&D, I definitely avoid killing players because I honestly think the journey is best than the actual end punchline. It just feels really good for me to when I actually see players deal with how their players retire and how they lived and whatnot after their great ordeal.
That ties
NPC.
into the closure bit.
Yeah, it does. And the NPC death, however, I just yuck it up. I literally had a NPC death that makes me laugh to this day called Josh Snake Touch.
I love how all your stories have like titles, like we're about to watch like an anime episode.
Oh yeah, John Snake Touch was the unluckiest NPC I ever had in my life, and I loved him. No matter whether I was whether I was rolling with dice or rolling on computer, he will always get nat ones every bloody time. So literally the whole Nostradamus thing happens. Like, I'm free. You roll a nat one. Dang it, I'm trapped again. This guy literally had snakes bit him in places I didn't think snakes would bite him. This man literally has a warrant for his arrest because women think that he's a pervert because of a not one situation.
Oh
My God.
we really are an anime episode.
Oh yeah. I didn't pull up the John Snake Touch throughout the entire Unicorn Hope thing, mainly because I forgot about him until recently. But honestly, like, I've killed children, old people, young people, and it seems to have just as good an impact as it would do as a player character death. The only difference is less punch in the face. I'm gonna still say that.
Yeah, I think the quote unquote death of Morph a few sessions back has already traumatized Fawn and Numi.
Oh yeah. Ray is still have not forgiven me that. Although she's in a much better mood now, so thank God. So I honestly thought I pissed her off. But honestly though, I just don't do it. It's not worth it. But at the same time, there's a small caveat of me that's like, if it happens, it happens.
But I think you also, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I also think you also subscribe a little bit to the ideology that I have, because
Shut up. I know you. I knew you caught on especially when your head was nearly bitten off. Shush. But yeah, you're right. Go on, continue.
Yeah, because you've on more than one occasion talked to the group and is just like, man, I can't believe you guys haven't died yet.
Yeah,
man, I'm trying really hard to kill you, and you guys, man, you just keep escaping the jaws of defeat. And you've definitely hammed it up once or twice, which is great. It's so fun to have that feeling of like, it's like the little brother. You like give them the controller and you're like, oh man, you're beating the game on hard mode, and like they're not even playing.
And it's
like the same idea where it's like you hype up the campaign and it's like, this is really hard and intense and it's super. This is the Dark Souls of D&D, and then like you don't kill anyone, and it gives everyone the feeling of like, man, we're really good at D&D because we're beating this. We're so good at beating the Dark Souls of D&D.
Bruce, be honest with me. Did you ever thought at one point I was gonna try to kill you?
I mean, I thought at least before, maybe like for the first half of the campaign, I definitely thought you were in camp, like, you know, let the dice fall where they may. This is a survival campaign and people can die pretty easily. I think the closest call that I had was there's a vampire trap in your campaign that me and I think Fawn stumbled upon that got us almost teleported to the plane of fire, which would have killed us instantly. And you gave Strom, one of the other players, a chance to like change the destination. You got us sent to a water place instead that basically had us suffocating until he was able to, you know, it bought us enough time for Strom to like reverse the glyph and have us like come back and everything. And we were all just like frozen and wet and everything, which was not good, but we weren't dead.
Crispy.
That was probably the closest call that I've had that was like, you know, oh shit, Angel really is cavalier about getting us killed.
Unfortunately, I wrote in that trap when I was 15, so it was before punch in the face.
Yeah, pre-punch in the face. And I mean, everyone has that moment. I mean, I've had the bag of devouring in Ultimate Academy that almost got the bug killed. Divine, you remember that? You remember that conversation I had with Sigmar after that? He was just like, "Holy crap! I can't believe you actually put a bag of devouring and almost killed me." Wow. And Sigmar and I actually had that comment where I was like, "Oh, it's that kind of game."
I'm not gonna lie, Dryad. The first time the bag of devouring was like really going at it, I literally jumped out of my seat, like saying, "Oh shit, Dryad's really going for it! Yeah. Oh shit!"
Yeah. And hey, like I said, I love the threat of danger. And you know what's the secret to the threat of danger?
Actually,
sometimes you have to make good on your threat.
I know, which is why I'm probably gonna have to kill one of you for real.
She
So
says.
anyway, who's getting the Glock?
Yeah.
In game, by the way, FBI
yeah.
agent. In game, by FBI agent.
That's why it's so important to set the tone, because sometimes, you pull the trigger and in order to make sure that that threat still means something to your players, you have to you have to load something that isn't a blank, and you have to actually kill someone. Obviously, you don't seek to kill someone.
Okay, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, right. Obviously, you don't seek to kill someone, but you do what I do. You put a bag of holding in, or you put like a boss encounter with like WoW, where it's like you guys can genuinely fail, and like this is not a roller coaster. You can lose, and
the problem is I know I'm in
sorry.
trouble. Problem is I know I'm in trouble because I noticed that Fawn caught on that I don't kill players.
Well,
and she's pushing it, so I'm gonna have to.
I don't know if that's Fawn catching on or just Ray being the most impulsive player I've ever met.
Oh no, she's more impulsive, more than ever. She did when she first started. She was impulsive, but yet careful. Now she's just pure impulsive.
Yeah, she's too invested.
Yeah, she knows I'm not gonna outright kill anyone, which I'm gonna have to change.
Yeah.
So
this is why you get someone with a hammer and you smash Morph to bits. All right, hear me out. Hear me out.
I already promised Morph will show up in the DLC. I'm sorry.
No, what? There's DLC for this game.
Question. Do you have like that player who's like, if nobody goes in the trap, I do?
Oh yeah, that's called Dryad.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Dryad, Bruce, I love you. You're a great person and everything. But you are by far the only person who I've noticed that's like, oh, there goes Dryad. And
I'm not. It's not stupid. It's bravery. It's what my character would do.
And in all fairness, you're right, because your character is a very flexible, fast as hell to backseat, and it works out every time. Because here's the thing. One thing you're really good at, Angel. This is sort of like moving away from the death discussion. We're tangenting here. One thing you're really good at, Angel, is putting the time crunch. You're really good at applying time pressure. So everything we do feels super urgent. Like we have to do this now and we can't dilly-dally. The stakes are high. And so whenever I like knowingly, I'll say I'll never knowingly step into a trap, but I will go into a situation knowing the danger, even if I don't have the solution. I don't have the 10-foot pole for everything, just because like I, as a player and as by extension as a character, feel that like the risk of danger that the immediate trap poses is not as bad as the risk inherent in wasting time trying to solve a problem, right? Because if we had all the time in the world, we could be Batman and we could prep for anything and we could solve every problem with 100% certainty, right? Like, strategy dies when you can solve everything with 100% certainty. And the time crunch makes it so that we have to like tactically decide how much we're willing to risk our short-term answers. I'm willing to risk this because I have a lot of health and I have all my key points, but I'm willing to risk this trap because it's not as bad even if I fail. Whereas like losing an hour of time in game planning things out is more dangerous because that is more innocent people who could die, or that is more time for the villain to plan like their army or whatever, I will admit there are times where you definitely have rushed forward towards the end and it's screwed up because you either get there before they even have a chance to prepare for you, or I had a chance to actually deal with you. And it's like it screws over the bad guys so often every time when you're there. There have been at least one case where the enemy has had time to prep for you, because you guys really took your time. And I don't think after that point you guys have never given me a chance to let the enemy prep up.
Yeah, we're definitely the kind to ignore side quests and just keep beelining the main objective.
Which is terrible because the side quest is where I only gave you your best gear, which is your fault. But oh well.
I mean, they'll
Yeah.
live without it. Or they won't.
No, they won't.
I mean, like,
No, they won't.
That's why we have player deaths.
Like I said,
mean, like
it's all about that time crunch. The time crunch is why I think we as a group are so like incentivized to stick to the main path.
You still, if you ask me though, you're still my best D&D players I ever had, which I'm grateful for. So
Say that to me is so nice of you. Well, we're talking about your campaign, and I'm like, I feel so much pressure from your game.
yeah, well,
Different tone.
it's not just you, Dryad. For crying out loud, there's Strum, there's Ray, there's Numi, and they're all great players. And I love every last one of them.
Yeah, we're all pretty great.
Yeah, you're all
I
for
just call
sure.
my players stupid.
Damn.
This is,
No,
these,
they call me stupid, so it's
A
fine.
real shoulder angel and shoulder devil situation here.
these players are the first players that ever make me rethink a lot of things in mid-session, and which is great because it actually makes me feel like an actual for a while before I had these guys, I felt like I was a rut DM. Like I was like not being good, not being anything, not being insightful, not being funny or clever or anything. But ever since I started playing with these guys, they made me change. That feeling goes away like immediately every time.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. You have that. It's like the classic like DM imposter syndrome that I think we all suffer from.
Yeah.
100%.
Like I've been playing games, and I'll tell anyone that I think my biggest strength is that I'm a good character writer. And so like I usually write D&D campaigns that have like a lot of NPCs and a sprawling cast of factions that have like their own relationships and goals and personalities that like work well with each other, and people end up caring about my NPCs pretty regularly. But even then, I still have situations where I have to like go to my players and like with my like pointing my little fingers together like, I don't know if my characters are really that good. Like I still like feel that pressure sometimes. It happens to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it needs to go away. It needs to find someplace home. Someone else's mind, because
Brain worms go
Honestly,
away.
honestly, this is like the best D&D. The mind worms do have me at one area. Is like, okay, so once this is ever done, am I ever gonna get another good set of players ever again? It's like, shit. Oh well, I'll come to that bridge when I find that bridge.
Yeah, like you'll cross the bridge when you get there.
Yeah.
Or burn it.
See, the reason I asked the question, because the story I was going to tell there is now a lot less. Because it was just a dumb thing a player did.
Oh,
Maybe if I could ask the question, because
Okay.
I just had a chair. I had a chair with some like trap stuff, and I it's like I hear in one sentence from my player, out of character, "That's a trap. I'm going to sit down."
oh no.
Now,
In one sentence.
okay, so now there was a point in my life where I actually did kill a bunch of players at once. I think I told you the meat grind story.
Doesn't ring a bell.
You didn't give me the full story.
All right, so D&D at the time, some years back then, was actually holding on the meat grind festival and whatnot. The meat grind festival is literally just like let's say I think there was like 9 or 12 DMs at this comic book store, and literally about 30 or 50 people came up, and they all had about like 6 or 7 or 8 character sheets. Literally, and the goal was for every last one of these people and the DMs was to make sure the players. Okay, for the players, they were to escape with an orb of certain magical powers and whatnot. But for the DMs, well, our jobs were actually kind of more simpler. Kill as many players.
Stop
as we could.
them.
Yeah. I think out of the 50 people we had, I killed about 23 people, and that was about in game. In Minecraft.
In Minecraft.
23 people, but I was not the highest kill streak. The highest kill streak was about 42.
Guys, I sold so many weapons of mass destruction in Minecraft.
In Minecraft.
I made a nuke in Minecraft.
That's kind of crazy though. But the tone of that campaign was makes it very clear, like that's the intent, right? It's like it's like the difference between running a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that's super heroic and character driven versus like everyone playing like a game of Paranoia or Call of Cthulhu, where it's like everyone knows we're screwed by the end of the story.
Yeah, it was good. I was actually really nervous at first because I was like, all right, so who's gonna be the first angry one? Who's gonna be the first angry one?
They went in knowing that this was like a fucking death game, right?
Yeah, they did. There's no way they did not. It's impossible not to.
So I mean, like, you can't be too mad at things, you know.
Yeah. And it's a great demonstration of like why people get mad when their characters die, because people who come in get attached to those characters, and then they make it their mission to like see this character grow. So when they make that their meta mission, instead of like the overarching D&D mission of like watching the story grow and telling the story, they feel their character die, and they feel like they failed in their personal mission of making their character grow. And then when they feel that failure, they take it in internally and personally, and they start to like I'm bad at D&D, I failed. And then that like becomes like the terrible feeling in their heart. And I know because like we've all had that moment, whether we're playing any sort of game or doing any sort of mission. It's like a universal feeling of like, I failed in something, I'm a terrible person, I'm bad at this thing. And you internalize that, and you either become depressed as heck, or you become angry. Like what do you do with that feeling? And that's like, I think where like it all comes from that, right? And so you set the tone.
I'm sorry,
you set the expectations. You set that expectation, and then when they don't have that expectation, suddenly they don't feel that it's a failure anymore, and they don't feel angry or sad when their character dies, because their character dying wasn't the failure state of their night.
Well, you're right, and that's true in every lots of ways. But you're forgetting one last thing.
What?
Accidents happen.
Accidents do happen. There's nothing like a little bit of unpredictability. D&D's unpredictability and tabletop gaming unpredictability is why we flock to that system instead of just everyone, writing on a single sheet of paper trying to tell a story. All right.
I mean, it's like that meme that just goes, "I do not control the die."
I think we've all gotten our stories in, lessons learned. Set your tones. Have backup characters if you're playing. Have backup plans for your failures if you're the DM, and accept the dice might roll where they may.
I want to play a player again. Does anyone have any D&D thing going on?
I want everyone to give me their funniest death story, and then I'm gonna find someone to raid. Super short, lightning round. Let's go.
Me first or someone else?
Go first, Angel.
I accidentally killed someone like a soccer ball accidentally.
Like a soccer ball, or with a soccer ball?
In game.
No. A fire giant kicked a player like a soccer ball, but actually hit him into a goalpost. Actually, make his body wrap around the same goalpost and killing him instantly.
Huh.
I thought that was hilarious.
So was that a bad roll? Like I need some more context.
A
little bit more.
He fell prone. He fell prone while holding onto the orb, and I had him to roll a dexterity save because it was the fire giant's turn, and he rolled a nat 1. Kicked his ass, literally.
Oh my gosh. Did he like do the goofy scream at the end?
No, but he did call his mom.
Internally.
No, but he did call his mom afterwards.
Like his player mom?
The actual player went up, left the table to call his mom.
Come pick
And
me
I
up,
don't
I'm
know why.
scared.
Died.
I don't know why.
Oh my god, I love that conversation that I had with my mom whenever I'm playing a game. I'm trying to call my mom and talk to her. Mama Dryad's just like, how was your day? How was your weekend? And I'm just like talking to my players, and I'm like, all right, that guy's dead. Pick me up, I'm dying. And my mom's like, oh my god, no! And I'm like, no, mom, it's in game. Where I'm talking about the game. And every time she's like, that game, you and your games are gonna give me a heart attack.
Oh my god.
It's just Minecraft.
I'm
Yeah, it's
imagining having a
Minecraft.
mom.
I'm dying in Minecraft.
I'm imagining having a mom. Oh well.
All right, I'll go next. I had a player character who was I had a player who was the epitome of a dumb sack of rocks with a big brute strength. He would see a spider trap and knowingly walk into the spider trap and have enough strength to break the spider trap. This guy was insane. Anyway, we had a D&D campaign. This was like part 4 of a giant epic, and a guy came in and was like, you have to go to the 9 hells to rescue your old friend who died in the last adventure. And this guy was talking to all the other players, all the other characters, and this guy, dumb as a sack of rocks, was like, we have to go to hell? All right, see you later. These guys were in a sky city of dragons in the clouds. And the guy was like, all right, see you later.
I already see where this is going.
And he's like, bye. He jumps off the clouds. He jumps down. And he's like, I'm going to take my giant hammer and smash it through the water. I'm going to go through the earth and make my way to hell. And everyone's like,
wait,
what?
That's a pretty good plan.
That's not where I was thinking that was going.
That's what he did. He jumped off of the clouds and was like, I use the hammer and smash my way through the earth and get into hell. Long story short,
I thought he was gonna try to kill himself to go to hell.
Long story short, the actual apparition brought him to a place, teleported them to hell. They found the fighter, because of course he's a fighter, fighting off demons and shit. They found him. He definitely got to hell. They did their mission, and then when they got teleported back to the mortal plane, he was like, great, now what do we do? And everyone else was like, dude? And he was a ghost, and he was like, shit.
We find Casper and try to revivify you.
Yeah, so then they had to go on a whole side quest to revive this guy. But they had to find his body just floating in the ocean somewhere.
Christ. I guess I'll share mine. This was actually because I played when I played. So I had this nice fighter. He had a gun. He fell off a dragon. It happens, you know. He fell off, and then somebody decided, let's stun the dragon. You know what happens when a flying creature is stunned?
Probably the person riding it has to make a dexterity save to avoid falling off.
No, I already fell off before it was stunned.
Oh shit!
So other shit. So my character first on the fucking floor, like
No.
2 health left.
Yeah,
Because that was on my turn that happened, so I couldn't move. Like 'cause my turn ended.
Just a casual
And the
D6,
next-
20 D6
And
falling
then the
damage.
next thing I see is just a fucking dragon landing on him. I died to magic missile afterwards, but I got knocked out just from a dragon landing on me.
God. Just sit on me. Wait, no, not like that.
I mean, it's either that or a player going, okay, guys, don't stand in front of the dragon. He has a breath weapon. He was 5 feet in the breath weapon and got one shot by it. Don't stand in the breath. Dies.
Everyone leave. I'll die.
He was the only one who warned people, and he was the only one that died that combat.
Damn, that's a real mentor moment.
All right, next one.
Yeah, go, Brian. Monologue.
I had a player try to ice skate on the river Styx.
When hell freezes over.
Yeah, literally froze the river Styx to try to cross it. Basically ice skating across it, not realizing that they're in hell and it's gonna melt very quickly, and he trips, falls into the river Styx, never to be seen again.
At least he won't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sticks. Were those his last words? Please tell me those were his last words.
No.
Ah.
His last words went, hey guys, this is working. Oh shit.
The classic. All right.
And then we found a bridge like about a mile down the road.
My buddy, Tira Blazar.
Tira!
Yes, Tira, rogue-like gamer extraordinaire, is playing Destiny 2 right now. We're gonna go ahead.
Oh,
and
fucking cringe.
That's not a roguelike.
We're gonna go ahead and send him a Dryad raid.
Yay.
What's gonna be our message?
Oh, can I
Die.
give you know what? Never mind.
Death saving throws now.
I was gonna
Roll
give
death
a small announcement of a.
Oh,
am I
yeah.
allowed?
Everyone, feel free to plug yourselves.
Later on today, we're gonna have a one-off of a D&D water deep heist bank thing that we're gonna do today.
All right.
Hopefully that goes well.
If you want to go check out, definitely some player characters definitely dying. You know how it is. Check out Angel's Adventure Market on Twitch. Giya, what are you up to?
I'm likely going to be doing some Dragon Ball raid this week, so that's going to be fun.
All right.
Dragon Ball Fighters.
Check out Giya's epic fighting game skills. I saw you hit your max rank on Strive. I think you mentioned it last week, but this guy is cracked at fighting games. Check him out at Giya Habiki on Twitch. And Brant, how about you?
I'm not really working on much this week. I have a lot of IRL things to go through. There is a potential of a job position shift, so I've been working on that this week. So there's nothing for me.
All right, so if everyone wants, go to Divine VR at Twitch and just lend him your energy. Just type in, take my energy in the chat, and that way give my boy the best job he can get. Give him that raise, give him that promotion. Now, Angel, Brant, I have one last question for you before we raid.
What up?
I'll ask
Yes, you
Angel.
are handsome.
Thank you.
Fine.
Second question. Angel, heads
What
or
up?
tails?
Oh, bugger me.
No, we gotta roll the
Tails.
D20.
Hey, you want to roll a D20?
Roll the D20.
Roll D20.
It's rolling initiative for a reason.
All right.
Didn't who was it?
All right.
Yeah.
This one doesn't count. That one's a fake. Who's rolling first?
Shit, we should flip a coin for it. No, I'm joking.
I mean, we can just follow the clock again.
I'll go first. All right,
Angel. Rolling of the D20. No whammies. No whammies.
Please be good,
15. You rolled
Oh,
a
that's
15.
good.
Those are good. That's a good roll. It's a respectable roll. Okay. Anyone who says 15 isn't a good roll, they're full of sand. All right.
It's a
They're full of
rogue.
sand. They got sand in their brain.
It's most DCs, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Brant, you're next.
All right.
No whammies.
Roll initiative.
6.
Sounds like my normal
that
initiative.
means you bear the impossible responsibility of hosting next week's charisma check. Everyone, expect an announcement regarding the theme of next week's charisma check and a little segment on my Twitter that you'll be able to ask questions related to that theme or just say whatever you want in the chat. We'll see what we can get to. If we get anything, that'll be great. Until then, make sure to give Hero Blazer our love. We're doing roll a death save as our raid message. And until next time, peace out, Cub Scouts.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Who the fuck? 10 minutes.
And just remember, you're my Wonderwall.
I'm banning you again.
All right.
That's cool.
Cause baby.
I guess
I'm
mentioning the Twitter where you never announced we went live.